Breaking today, Meghan Markle's Washington, D.C. ambitions are not over yet. Now, this may sound extraordinary, given that her popularity is so low on both sides of the Atlantic, but I can reveal that Meghan Markle still believes that there is a chance that she can enter American politics and still harbors ambitions one day of being in the White House. Now, I have been reporting before anyone else on Meghan's very serious political mindset. Remember when she was in the British royal family, sources very close to Meghan, who were working with her at the time, senior courtiers, told me that Meghan very often spoke about her goal of one day becoming the US president. Now, this is something that she has, of course, tried to do down in recent years and months, in part because she realized that aligning herself with the Democratic Party was making her business ventures less successful. But behind the scenes, Meghan still very much views herself as someone who one day will enter politics. She has just decided to do so in her late 50s or 60s, when she believes the rest of the world will have moved away from the MAGA Donald Trump movement back towards her woke style of politics. Can you believe that more than half of you are watching this video but not subscribed? So please do me a huge favor, click the subscribe button now, turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to all of our brand new Outspoken videos. P-Dina, I mean, obviously we call this woman delusional all the time. But is there any chance? I mean, you're American. Is there any chance? I mean, lots of people, I guess, would never have thought Donald Trump would end up in the White House. P-Dina, even a few years before he did, that concept was being treated as just a punchline. You know, Bill Maher would say it in his real-time studio, and the audience and all the panelists would laugh. Now he's one of the most successful politicians of all time. So is there a chance here? I know she's delusional, right? I know this woman is mad. But is there any way that she could pull this off, or is she barking up the wrong tree?
Well, we have to go back to before even Trump was in office, Obama was in office. And then when Trump came in, it was a complete contrast to what we had in politics. And so, yeah, Donald Trump was laughed at. People thought, no way, there's no way he's going to be president. There's like so many people on record saying that. So, I mean, people are saying the same thing now about Meghan. And I just would not put it past her to be able to do something. I mean, look, the woman did marry royalty, okay? So it could be years from now. I think a long-term plan is a more realistic possibility if she's looking at it like into her 60s, maybe 70s. Yeah, I think it could absolutely happen. I think you can't put it past someone that has this kind of ambition. She is very tenacious about the things that she wants, and she'll keep going. And she says herself, different chapters, different time. I mean, she's always referencing this, changeover. This is something new. This is different. And so she can see herself, I think, going into a different chapter in her life and getting something that she envisions happening for herself, because that's how she sees it in her mind. And she absolutely could go into politics and have some success. I think maybe not anytime soon, but years, maybe, from now, decade from now, perhaps century. Yeah, it could happen. It's not unrealistic to think that could happen in America, because yeah, we get different kind of people all the time in politics.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, certainly not at the moment, but it is
Right.
very interesting, P-Dina, when you go back and you look at who Meghan was preparing to be before meeting Prince Harry. Now, yes, sure, she was absolutely desperate for a famous rich man, so she didn't have to work. But a lot of that was partly because she could present herself as this sort of highly political, philanthropic woman who cared about the plight of the world. She had already decided, P-Dina, she wanted out of acting. It was too hard. She didn't want the hard work. What she wanted to be was a trophy wife, but able to use that position with a billionaire ideally as a launch pad to political success. And I think it's really fascinating, especially when you go back and look at her interview with Larry King, because this was her big political launch. Okay, Larry King, who was the CNN veteran, God rest his soul, and I mean, God bless him. I love the guy. By the time he was interviewing Meghan Markle, though, let's just be honest about it, P-Dina, he was sort of working for Russian TV. He was off prime time in America. His cultural resonance had gone, which is why he was giving so much time to Meghan Markle to sort of put across her pitch, right? And her pitch was as this very political woman, but she still played the whole sort of sexy thing. Do you know what I mean? I'm sexy, I'm beautiful, I want you to want to sleep with me, but I'm also very, very serious. And so I just want to take a look through and let's analyze this interview, P-Dina, because again, it is such an eye-opener as it shows that all of her current shtick, like we saw in the Bloomberg interview of, oh, you know, I just have nothing I want to say anymore. It's bullshit, okay? It is bullshit. And it is coming back. She's just waiting for the first time. So this is when she was fluttering her eyes at Larry King, who said, oh, look, you're not just the average American woman. Watch this.
I think this is
You're not the average American woman, Meghan, admit it.
Well, I would like to think that I am. Okay. Well, here we go. Here's what I would say about that. I think it's very important to shift this idea that, you know, one would say, okay, you're coming on to Larry King, and you're doing politicking, so maybe wear a blazer and play the opposite and make sure you can be taken seriously. My point in all of this is that no matter what you look like, you should be taken seriously. And I think it's very important. And for me also, I think it's really great to be able to be a feminist and be feminine, to embrace both.
Is feminism still a good... I'm a feminist. I've been a feminist all my life.
That's fantastic.
Is it still a good word?
Yes, it's not the F word.
I don't hear about it. I don't hear it said much as it used to be.
Well, I think it's really... It had
Gloria Steinem in her prime.
Of course. I mean, I think that it's really shifted because at the onset it was getting a bad rap and seemed to be like women burning their bras, and this perception of how it's evolved since then has changed. And last year, I think it was sort of of the moment kind of word that people were trying to define a bit more and to embrace it again in a different way, to not have some sort of negative connotation.
I mean, P-Dina, it makes me laugh because there's still so much of the mumbo jumbo there. But my God, this was how she saw her future, right?
Yeah, she was definitely, setting herself up for politics and, her speech with the UN. And we have to remember when she was also at in Argentina, I think she did some kind of testing to become in politics like a diplomat or something like that. And she had these intentions all along. It's clear that that's what she wanted to do. I think she might even, try to continue doing this, like I said, later in life. But that's what Meghan wants. And I think the reason why is because she likes the power. She likes being able to have this voice to tell people what to do. She's very controlling. She wants to be looked at as someone who's very smart and affluent and speaks on behalf of people, because that's in her wheelhouse to do. And so that's something that we can see Meghan will probably more than likely do later in life because of who she is as a person now. That's just Meghan and her controlling behavior and always wanting to be the one to, tell people what to do or to speak on behalf of, because she does it with Harry. Look at what she does now to know how Meghan will do things later in life. She's always the one that wants to be out front when she's with Harry, because it's not about really Harry. You're just a handbag, you're the side piece.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
she also always had the intention of using these I guess, humanitarian chops, or that's exactly how she saw them anyway, to plug her
Yeah.
commercial venture, to plug her money maker. Because at the time, P-Dina, her money maker was, of course, the TIG. Because this was long before, as ever. Watch this.
Well, because Rwanda has the highest percentage of female political participants of any other country in the world. So 64% of their government is female.
Wow.
So when you see 64% of the senators being women, it just changes the conversation that's at the forefront. So I went there to meet with those leaders and then to also go to Gihembe refugee camp and to meet with female leaders at a more of a grassroots level, and then take that information, use things like this, and use opportunities like I have on the TIG to talk about things of really high value.
With all the problems Rwanda has had, how do you explain this seemingly contradiction?
I think it's really, truly, and especially being there on the ground, it was so interesting to see that in the wake of, obviously, such a horrendous experience that they had, which was not much more than 20 years ago or so, right? We're talking something that was fairly recent.
Yeah.
And in that, yes, so many of the men were lost in the genocide, so it gave women an opportunity to either succumb to that or to then find some strength and then mobilize in a way that was really empowering. And I think that's specifically what they've done, which is a great benchmark for what women all over the world could be doing.
So notice when she's speaking about Rwanda, P-Dina, we got the big plug in for the TIG. Some things never change.
Megan is very calculating. So she does things with clear intention, and that interview, all the things she's done is with the intention to use it to build on later, to build her profile and her potential political career. And yeah, that's her MO. That's what she does. And there's no reason to believe it has changed now that she's with Harry.
No,
She's an independent woman.
absolutely not. But P-Dina, there was another moment of this interview that I did want to show you, because she always likes to control the narrative, even when she's with Larry King. Remember Larry King, one of the most experienced interviewers of all time, and nothing's off limits. But when he actually asked her a difficult question, she really wasn't happy about it, and she struggled to provide an answer, even though she did eventually get there. And again, this was because she, I believe, didn't want to have to attack Saudi Arabia, because she knows that there was a lot of money that was going to be coming in from those Middle Eastern states. So again, it's a bit like she's only ever prepared to go as far as she wants to go, which is very difficult, because if you're entering the realms of politics, then you've got to be prepared to actually go there. But watch this and you'll see what I'm talking about. But first, the #1 worst fruit for your waistline. Look, are you turning healthy fruits into highly unhealthy fruits without even realizing it? Fruit can be one of the healthiest things you can put into your body. But the majority of Americans are guilty of making this single mistake that can counteract all of the health benefits of fruit. Some fruits can help with occasional constipation, reduce bloating, and even help burn calories. Others can wreak havoc on your digestive system and energy levels. Now, I came across this viral presentation from world-renowned heart surgeon Dr. Stephen Gundry that showcases the 3 fruits to stop eating today. It was shocking. I had no idea. And after finding it out, I've stopped eating these 2. I'm going to put a link for you all to watch it, because I want you all to gain this information. I think it's truly important, actually. You can go watch it right now at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. That's thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. I've also linked it in the description box below this video too, or if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, you can just click on the QR code on screen or hold up your phone, to the QR code. You know how it works. Oh, and by the way, eliminating these fruits could forever change the way we help increase energy levels, decrease brain fog, support digestion, and even lose weight. So make sure to click on the link below or go to thehealthyfat.com/outspoken to find out now. Dr. Gundry has lost 70 pounds himself using his research and has kept the weight off for over 20 years and counting. His digestive issues are gone. His health is fantastic. He feels younger today than he did in his 40s. His video has been watched by over 20 million people to date. You can watch and learn more about it at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. Just click on the link in the description box below this video. But now, back to the show.
Where's the worst area? What country would be the worst in the area of inequality? I would guess Saudi Arabia or the...
Well, I mean, I think that it's all relative to where we're talking about, and what's challenging when you ask a question like that is that you have to take into account the cultural context, right?
Yeah.
So when you're looking at places that have a dual legislation and a legal system that's looking at, yes, the government, but also a religious law, there are certain standards that are quite different. So to say the worst is challenging because I don't want to put that judgment on some things that certain cultures are comfortable with. But in terms of women feeling certainly disabled to have the same rights, yes, Saudi Arabia would be a strong one to mention.
So she got there eventually, P-Dina, but she wasn't happy about it, you see.
Yeah, she wasn't. So, I think Meghan really will compromise. I think it just shows that she'll be, an advocate for something, but I think sometimes she may not really want to go to certain places. And so she can definitely downplay something because, she needs to play the game, if she wants to get the things that she wants. And we know later she did take some, wasn't some earrings from the Saudi king later?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And she didn't want anyone to know, but she was happy to wear those earrings, P-Dina.
Absolutely. That's what she does.
But this is the point. This is the point. Her moral compass only goes so far. Then, P-Dina, we come to Trump. And we've got to talk about the significance of Trump in her life. Because as much as she hates the guy, Trump is the reason, absolutely, behind her silence now. Because you remember, back then, this is what she had to say about the, at the time, aspiring American president. Watch.
Of course, Trump is divisive. Think about just female voters alone, right? I mean, I think it was in 2012, the Republican Party lost the female vote by 12 points. That's a huge number. And with as misogynistic as Trump is and so vocal about it, that's a huge chunk of it. You're not just voting for a woman if it's Hillary just because she's a woman, but certainly because Trump has made it easy to see that you don't really want that.
Okay, so at the time, P-Dina, she was like all liberal Hollywood celebrities. She was absolutely happy to slam Trump.
Yeah, Meghan is quiet now because Trump has come out and said some things, right, about her since then. And she has spoken a lot in the past, and the more she spoke, I think the more it came out to bite her when Trump said some things that she didn't like. And I think she's really afraid to come out even now because, of course, Trump will say something that will really make her embarrassed or insult her in a way. So right now we can't get her to say anything. And I think that's why she's going for the long-term game with any, potential politics in the future, because right now it wouldn't be good for her. But we see in the past that has always been something that she was ready to do until she got the clap back from Trump. And then she knew to shut her mouth and not say anything. And that's why she does it now.
Indeed. And P-Dina, we saw that in the Bloomberg interview. And let me just set it up because this is about fear. And again, it shows that Meghan is always prepared to put her money, her financial ability to earn ahead of her morals. That's the only reason she's not speaking about Trump. Okay. And we saw in the Bloomberg interview the way that she tries to square the circle in terms of justifying why she isn't speaking. Watch this.
Choice words for President Trump.
I think it was in 2012, the Republican Party lost the female vote by 12 points. That's a huge number. And with as misogynistic as Trump is and so vocal about it, that's a huge chunk of it. You're not.
Are there things you're dying to say or do right now that you feel like you can't?
No.
I just make a choice of what matters to me and what's important to me. And that was a different time in 2016, certainly. But no, I mean, what was that, the Larry Wilmore show?
Yes.
I was so excited to have that. I was so excited to be able to go on that show at the time. Yeah, no, I think. Hi, how are you?
Good,
Thanks for having us.
Okay. Thank you. I've got a classic and a jalapeno.
I'm a classic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. There we go.
Thank you so much. Can I grab some napkins from you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll wait for the napkins.
Just to be
I'll
on
let
the
you-
safe
I'll let
side.
you finish your answer.
Of course, it was a different time. I was excited to be on the show, and I think if there's anything that I wanted to say or that felt necessary to say, then I would say it. But that's not where I'm at right now. I don't think I haven't said anything since 2016. That was well before I met my husband, too.
So, I mean, there's so much going on in that video, P-Dina, but the line that I just noted down, what matters to me and what's important to me. And what matters to her at the moment, P-Dina, is money. And she knows that talking about Trump and politics is not going to be good for her financially. And what's interesting is that she still harbors these ambitions. They absolutely haven't gone away. They are just being parked at the moment because she wants to present a different type of image to the world.
Yeah, and I think the negativity that will come eventually from speaking about Trump will hurt her brand. So she's definitely not going to say anything. She's trying to make money right now. So she's not really fooling anybody. We know that, yeah, right now she doesn't want to say anything, but that doesn't mean she won't later. And I believe she is definitely prepared and ready to do that at a later time. But that's how much she's hurting and how she needs to save her image and her brand right now, because speaking out in with what we have now in the States will definitely hurt her even more. So yeah, she knows when to shut her mouth. I guess she has learned something.
Yeah, indeed. But most shockingly, P-Dina, as someone on the ground in the US, you could see it happening. You could actually see in a couple of election cycles, the mood of the country has changed. And I guess what we've seen in American politics, P-Dina, is actually sometimes one of the most important things that you need above anything else is name recognition. And that she most certainly has.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's gotten what she's wanted from Harry, right? She's used him for what he has provided. Now, I think she is going to look for other things elsewhere. She's not finished building and trying to find what will help her and to sustain her. Harry was a small part of that, and that's been acquired. And now I think she will definitely keep looking. She's definitely keep trying to find something to get her out of this conundrum that she's in now, because we know right now they're not doing well financially. And Harry's off doing what he's doing. So where does that leave Meghan right now? She's plotting and planning, I believe, as we speak. I mean, this is why I think in the beginning when we started that, she's not happy in Montecito right now with how things are looking for her future. So she's got to make something very drastic happen to create some kind of change and momentum moving forward. I think politics will be part of that later, but before that politics, what comes before that? It could be a number of different things. And I just think we'll know it when she finds it, but she's definitely looking, I believe.
Indeed, because of course, the one thing that you do need even more than name recognition to make a successful run for the US presidency is money. And actually, Trump was able to do a reverse takeover of the Republican Party. He didn't have the support of the party hierarchy. Meghan doesn't need that. But what she does need is she needs money. She needs donors, but she also needs to be independently wealthy. And at this point, that's going to be very, very difficult for her. At this point, P-Dina, I'd say there's probably more chance of Kim Kardashian becoming president. But the difference is Meghan has that ambition. So absolutely fascinating. Thank you for doing this deep dive with me. And of course, for so much more analysis from P-Dina, make sure you sign up to her brilliant YouTube channel. And if you do want first access to our Royal Uncancelled After Show, every single weekday, it's twice the length of what you've just watched. Then sign up to to my Substack, www.outspoken.live. You will get the first access to the show, either live or on demand, every Monday to Friday, with no advertising whatsoever. Substack is such an important platform for me because it is free speech focused. It protects me from big tech cancellation. It protects me from lawfare from people like Prince Harry. But we're also a community there, so you can message me directly on Substack. So just go for that monthly or annual paid membership to get first access to our Royal Uncancelled After Show. And I would love you to be part of our free speech revolution.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.